Hi friends, I hope you all are doing so good, so amazing, living it up, living like Larry. I already took my little leggings curls out because I didn't want it to be like a jump scare and like startle you so early in the morning. But I'll go ahead and put the clip of me taking out my leggings curls in because like that's crazy. That's crazy. And then you're halfway ready. Literally, I'm gonna take these bad boys out and see. Oh gosh, see if it's any better this time. Hold on, I forgot that I literally tucked them in and I have to pull them out. I'm like actually scared. Like I'm a little bit concerned. What have I done? What have I done? Wait. Oh my god, it's looking, maybe. She's got some loose spots and some tight spots, but don't we all? That's not bad. Period. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, there's that postpartum hair loss. All right. Okay, that's pretty. Pop off. Okay, so today what we are going to be doing, I'm gonna get ready and we're gonna talk about all things breastfeeding. I asked on Instagram if you guys had any questions, like anything specific that you wanted me to talk about. You know what, I just realized I totally haven't done my skincare. I need to do my skincare before I put lashes on. But we're just gonna hang out. It's just gonna feel like a little FaceTime call. We're just gonna be chit-chatting, okay? So I have all of my little responses here for things to talk about. I told you guys there was a lot. So I'm just gonna go through some of them. I'm gonna try to answer all of the ones that are like very repetitive, like the ones that a bunch of you asked. One of the biggest things everybody's been asking is how my breastfeeding journey this time has differed from my breastfeeding journey with Bentley. And honestly, somewhere between, it hasn't really differed much at all and it's differed a whole lot. Like the beginning was very similar, I would say. Like I got mastitis with Bentley and it was really difficult. I had issues with latching, like all of that, and I used nipple shields. In that aspect, it's been very similar. So with grwm, I still got mastitis like right when my milk came in. I feel like that's like, I don't know, I feel like that's just a me thing. Like I'm just prone to it because I get so much milk and I get so engorged so quickly that there's literally just like nothing. Like I literally cannot act fast enough and get them out fast enough, like the clogs, to not get like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm prone to mastitis. But anyways, so I got mastitis right off the bat again this time, but it wasn't as bad as last time to me because I like knew what it was. I was expecting it. I was able to like, you know, get the help that I needed right away. My symptoms were worse this time, but my mental like coping with it was not as bad. But then this time I also got thrush on top of that, which was a little bit different. Like that just made it like 10 times more painful. With retrospect, like it also made me question if I had thrush literally the entire time breastfeeding Bentley, because the way that thrush hurts is, I feel like how it hurt the entire time with Bentley, and that may have been why I had such a hard time. Now Bentley also had a lip tie, but I don't know, with Bentley I feel like it was just a whole lot of like, I could not do literally anything while I was breastfeeding. Like I couldn't move, like I was so like locked down to the place that I was in when I started feeding him. And I don't know, it was just super hard with Bentley. So far it hasn't been as bad this time. I still struggle with breastfeeding, especially in the middle of the night. I don't know, it's just really hard for me. And especially when I'm like so touched out. For the most part, I would say this time it's been better. Okay, let's see, let's find another question. Oh, somebody said, what is a letdown? A letdown is like your milk letting down. So think about it this way. Your milk is all being held in like these milk ducts. Pretend they're like all just like in a line right here. That's not how it works, but pretend they're all just in a line and they're just being held and they're just holding the milk. So whenever your milk lets down, it's just releasing the milk down to your nipples. Some women get like a tingly feeling. I get a tingly feeling. If you have a really strong letdown, it can like be a little bit uncomfortable. If it was constantly just flowing, like it would just be like pouring out of your boobs all the time, you know? Do you ever feel trapped because of breastfeeding? I struggled so bad mentally. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very difficult, and I think that there's a lot of pressure also from society, from yourself. Like there's a lot of things that make you feel trapped into breastfeeding, and then there's, you know, the also physical aspect of like, it's not easy. Yeah. Not everybody can like multitask while breastfeeding. I personally, like, I can't. I don't know how people do it. I can't do it. So I definitely feel very physically trapped whenever I'm breastfeeding, and it's very hard because so much of your day is spent just locked in one place with a child attached to your titty. How do you handle overstimulation of breastfeeding plus a toddler? That's a good question. Honestly, the most overstimulating part is more of like a touched out thing. Like Bentley will try to crawl all on top of me and Graham whenever I'm breastfeeding him, and that's just like, I guess, overstimulating. Like it's just like, what am I supposed to do, you know? But he's usually pretty good about letting me just like redirect him, but I try to just have lots of toys and things to entertain him nearby. And I also try to put myself somewhat out of his reach. Oh, a lot of people ask me if I had, like, how long I breastfed Bentley and then like what my goal is this time. So my goal this time is to make it 6 months exclusively breastfeeding him. Now that doesn't mean exclusively nursing him. It just means exclusive breast milk versus like having any formula. Bentley was somewhere around the 6-month mark, but I didn't like necessarily choose to stop. I was just so sick in my pregnancy that I wasn't making enough milk, and trying to breastfeed him was further damaging my health. So I had to stop. But I would like in like a perfect world, I'd like to make it a year breastfeeding. I promised myself that I would be more graceful with myself this time, and you have to set goals that you can meet, or else you're gonna live your whole life disappointed. So right now my goal is 6 months. Honestly, I've heard a lot of people say to set tiny goals and then keep expanding them. So like your first goal would be like 6 weeks of breastfeeding, and then once you hit 6 weeks, then your next goal is 12 weeks, and then once you hit 12 weeks, then your next goal is like 6 months, you know what I mean? And so I also think that that could be helpful. What does mastitis feel like, and how did you know you were getting it? So for me, this time I knew I was getting it because I've had it before. Last time I had really no clue what was going on, but I had massive lumps in my armpit because you have milk ducts in your armpit, and they were so painful. And then I started getting like redness in my boobs. I will try to put pictures here if I can make it to where it's not like inappropriate. But I had a lot of redness on my boobs, and then I started getting all of the flu symptoms that you get with mastitis. So really bad headache. The headache is arguably the worst part for me. Really bad headache, fever, chills, body aches, fatigue, like the whole 9 yards. It was so miserable. Mastitis is one of the things that you want to catch early, so if you have any worries at all about it, I would absolutely talk to your OB because it can get bad really fast. Do you ever get scared he's not eating enough? Honestly, no, so long as certain criteria is met. And somebody else had asked, like, how do you know if they're like actually like eating? So as long as you can see and hear them swallowing, as long as they're gaining weight, and as long as they have an appropriate and normal amount of wet and dirty diapers, you have nothing to worry about. Literally nothing to worry about. And those are very good like checkpoints. I don't know. Has B been jealous of breastfeeding Graham? I don't think that he's been jealous. He's been very curious. Another person had asked if he gets curious when I'm breastfeeding. He definitely does. He's very like, what is going on? And he gets very up in my business. And also he has seen me like working the milk out to the baby, and so now he tries to come up and do that, and that's like a little bit like, no buddy, you know. He gets curious. I don't know if I would say he gets jealous. He doesn't really like throw a fit or anything. He hasn't tried to like latch himself or anything like that, so I don't really think in that aspect that he's very concerned about it. It's more of just like, oh, now mom's full attention is on Graham, like let me act a fool and get her attention on me. If you're exclusively breastfeeding, how do you relieve engorgement? Hand expressing in the shower, hand expressing in general. You can use a haka, you can pump, like it's totally fine to do that and still be exclusively breastfeeding, because you don't want to leave engorgement, because leaving engorgement leads to clogs, which can lead to a host of other problems. But my biggest advice for engorgement, if you're trying not to pump and stuff, is just hand expression in a really hot shower. Like the hot shower will loosen everything up, and it'll be way easier to get it out. So that's definitely what I would recommend. Is it normal to not like breastfeeding and getting tired of it? Absolutely. Breastfeeding is so hard. So hard. What's everything that helped with mastitis? Okay, so the thing about mastitis is it's an infection and you need antibiotics to clear up mastitis. Now, that being said, the clogs are a different conversation, and you can have clogs and not have mastitis also. But the things that helped me were hot showers and hand expression. Like I said, that was the biggest help in getting the clogs out, as well as you can use a haka with hot water and Epsom salt, and it can kind of like pull the clog out. And let's see, what else did I do? Lots of like cold compresses on the tatas or wherever you have the inflammation, and that can help reduce pain. I did literally like everything in the book. Like, I mean, if you literally just Google like how to relieve a clog or how to relieve mastitis, like everything that comes up is everything that I did. Do you track feeds based on length of time and how many a day, etc.? I do track my feeds, but I just track it so that I know what he's eaten. I don't like do it for anything else. So like I just have an app on my phone and I just start the timer when he's eating, and I don't like really cut him off or anything like that, other than the fact that I make sure to switch him like halfway. So at first it was kind of hard because I didn't know like how long he prefers to eat, but typically now he does about 10 minutes on one side and 10 minutes on the other. Sometimes it'll be more, sometimes he'll literally do like 20 minutes, but I think that's when my milk is a little more empty, so it like takes longer for him to get what he needs. Bentley just got in the tub. How to make that first week or 2 weeks easier as a first-time mom trying to exclusively breastfeed. So I would say be prepared for any clogs and stuff like that, because when your milk is coming in and your body doesn't understand how much milk it needs to hold on to, like it's very, very common for your body to have more than it needs, and so you very easily could get clogs and stuff. So I would just be like on deck about knowing, how do I word this? Like, educate yourself on how to get rid of clogs. So be prepared to relieve the clogs. Have warm compress. Now that can literally, a warm and cold compress can literally just be like a washcloth that you either put hot water on or put in the fridge. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to go buy anything fancy, but you just need something hot, something cold, because that can relieve pain, that can loosen things up. I would highly, highly, highly recommend sunflower lecithin. It is very, very, very good for like loosening up clogged ducts, and it like affects the stickiness of your milk so that it doesn't get so like clogged up. The clogs are the biggest thing I feel like that make it difficult. Everything else, latching can be a difficult thing to figure out. I would maybe get some nipple shields and have them on deck. You might need to get with a lactation consultant to figure out the right size, because there are different sizes, but nipple shields are honestly essential for me in my breastfeeding journey. But yeah, for me, I have to use nipple shields and gradually get off of them. I'm not as worried about like getting off of the nipple shield right now, because right now we're still just figuring everything out. But nipple shields can help with the latch and help with pain, help your baby learn how to latch, help you with the pain in the process. So I definitely recommend that. I would also recommend nipple pads. Personally, I like the disposable ones, not the reusable ones, because I just think it's easier, but to each their own. But the reason I recommend those is because when you're leaking and stuff, if you're leaking just into your bra and then it's just sitting there, that's a good way for the yeast to build up, which is how you get thrush, and thrush is really, really painful. So you want to keep everything as dry, clean, and hygienic as possible. So that would be my recommendation for that. Okay, this is a good one. It says, how can you tell if you have a clogged milk duct? So it depends on like the size of the clog, but it will literally feel like a hard ball in your boob. Like, it may be big, it may be small. It can literally be like the size of a pea, or it can be like a giant lump, like what I would have showed you earlier with like the mastitis. But you will be able to feel like a hard ball type feeling. This is a nice positive one. It says, I know you've had a lot of breastfeeding struggles, but what is your favorite thing about breastfeeding? I have so many favorites, and I made a TikTok about it not too long ago, but some of my favorite things is their eyes looking up at you when they're eating, and the little noises that they make while they're eating is so cute. I think it's really cool, just like the science behind breastfeeding and the way that your body reads their body to make the antibodies that they need, and like anything they're deficient in, your body will put in the milk. Like, I just think that that's the coolest thing in the world. So that's another thing that I just think is so dope. I love the bond that it gives you. I feel like there's like nothing that quite compares to that in the early stages. If Bentley decided he wanted to breastfeed, do you think you'd let him? Honestly, no. I personally would not. What pumps do you use? When I pump, I use the Lancino Smart Pump 2.0 or the Mom Cozy S9. Are you using milk collectors or just strictly breastfeeding? For the most part, I'm just breastfeeding, but every once in a while, I will pump or use the Haka. Honestly, I haven't been using the Haka that much. Are you tandem feeding? No. A lot of people are just asking like what I do with Bentley while I'm breastfeeding. He's literally just playing with toys or like watching TV or eating or something, but he's always got something to occupy him, or he's crawling all over me. Like, that's literally just a free-for-all. A lot of people recommended me to have like a thing of toys that he only plays with when I'm breastfeeding so that they're still interesting, and it didn't work. So it's just like, you figure it out, you know? There's not any like special, Bentley, leave him alone. Bentley, leave him alone. There's not any special trick to make it easy. How often do you breastfeed versus pump? Honestly, I really don't pump that much. The only time I pump is if I drink or if he's not gonna be eating anytime soon and I feel like super engorged. That's literally the only time that I pump. I'm gonna hope that brushing this doesn't ruin it, but I can't not brush my hair, so. But yeah, that's literally the only time that I pump. I feel like we're almost out of questions because there's just like a lot of repeating questions. Any tips for biting? No, I do not have any tips for biting because I never experienced that. Has keeping a more positive vibe helped with this go around? Absolutely. Keeping a more positive vibe and mindset has helped with everything. It's helped with breastfeeding. It's helped with my entire postpartum journey. It's helped with my patients. It's helped with my relationship. Like, it's helped everything. There's a lot to be said about seeking out the positive versus seeking out the negative. And when you get in a negative headspace, it's very easy to start only seeing all of the negative in everything, and then all of the negative piles up, and then you just feel like everything sucks. But if you're seeking out the positive, you start seeing all of these positives that stack up, and you're like, wow, like, I'm really blessed. So it really just depends on what you're looking for in life, you know what I mean? And I know that that's easier said than done, but a lot of people are asking for any tips for increasing supply. I haven't had that issue this time so far, but I know I had a little bit of it last time. Sometimes there's not a whole lot you can do, but you can make sure that you're drinking enough water, make sure that you're eating good, like eating enough, getting enough calories. There are things out there that they make. There's supplements you can take. There's like lactation cookies and things like that. I think oats are supposed to be something that's good for supply. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But if you also like need help like that, like y'all, do not be afraid of seeking out a lactation consultant. A lot of lactation consultants take insurance too. But yeah, do not be afraid of reaching out to a lactation consultant because they are going to be so much more educated and eager to help you continue to breastfeed, because so many things that you like have problems with breastfeeding, when you bring them up, people are like, oh, well, just give them a bottle or just give them formula or just whatever. Like, it's so, people are so quick to like encourage you to quit breastfeeding, and you don't have to do that. Like, there are resources out there for you to continue breastfeeding. So somebody said, I'm 3 weeks postpartum and I'm only making about 20 milliliters each time I pump. Tips to bring supply up. So I don't know if you're exclusively pumping or if you are pumping and breastfeeding. I don't know your like exact case scenario, but I will say that your pump output is not an indication of the supply that you make. So your baby, like directly nursing, is always going to pull out more than what your pump does. Always. Your pump, I have heard so many people say, including lactation consultants, that what you pump does not indicate your actual supply. So try not to get too wrapped up in that, and pay more attention to if your baby is getting an adequate amount of wet diapers and dirty diapers, and is your baby gaining weight. Do you bottle feed as well as breastfeed, as in breast milk in a bottle? Yes, sometimes. Sometimes we give him a bottle of breast milk if I'm too touched out, or like I said earlier, like if I drink, then we'll give him a bottle of frozen breast milk. Well, we thaw it out, but yeah, we'll give him a bottle of breast milk, and then that's whenever I would pump and dump if I feel like I drank enough alcohol that it doesn't need to be saved. But you can also just, you don't have to pump when you drink. You can also just wait a few hours, but it just like depends. Sometimes I just feel better dumping it because I have so much milk in the freezer that it's fine. Like, it's fine. We do bottle feed sometimes, not a whole lot, because I don't want it to confuse him with his latch, because the whole reason that it can confuse them is because with a bottle you're getting immediate satisfaction. With a bottle, they start sucking on it, they immediately get milk, and it's that instant gratification. But with breastfeeding or nursing, they have to wait a minute and they have to work to get your milk to let down. So they have to suckle on it with nothing happening until your milk lets down, and then they get that gratification or satisfaction or whatever. So that's the only reason that it can cause like nipple confusion, as people say. It's just because they're not getting that instant gratification when they nurse versus a bottle. So that's something to watch out for, but we personally haven't had an issue with it. I think those are like all of the big repetitive, those are all of the big questions, and this video is probably already really long, and I have to do my hair for a stinking TikTok. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If you have any other big questions, comment them down below, because I'm going to be doing like a whole broad Q&A in not too long. So yeah, comment anything that I missed, anything that you're like super eager and want to know from like a personal experience. Obviously, I'm not a professional. This is not expert doctor advice, but it's just from my experience. But yeah, thank you for hanging around. I hope this helped you or comforted you, or I hope you just enjoyed chatting with me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for 76K. I am literally mind blown. Like literally mind blown. Never in my life did I think we would be this close to 100K, but I'm starting to be like, wow, maybe it could actually happen. So thank you so much to everybody that comments and likes and subscribes and shares and does all of those things. You guys are incredible. I love you so much. And I will see you next week.